We're just a couple days away from Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, which means it's time for me to break down every single fight on this card. You know, it's a little later than usual. Been a little busy this week training and working a lot, but we are here. We are ready to break down these fights for you. I was on the Best Bets episode on the Sparring Sessions podcast last night, so if you want to go check that out, wait until the video is over, but I'll have it linked in the description. But yeah, let me jump right into this card, starting with the first fight, going all the way up to the main event. You guys know how it goes. Let me jump right into it. First fight of the night, Cody Brundage versus Eryk McConico. This fight just got made. It's almost good that I waited to do these picks, because this fight got made, I think, Tuesday night or Monday night. So good thing I waited, and we got this blockbuster card. Might be my favorite fight on the card. Cody Brundage. This dude scraps. He's actually gained my respect. I've got to give it to him. When I first was finding out about Cody Brundage, you know, I was not a fan. I saw this no contest DQ merchant, and I kind of made him my least favorite fighter. But then he shows up, he brawls, every single time he's in the cage, you know what you're getting out of him. It's a first round, emptying everything he's got. In that Mansour Abdul Malik fight, it actually just got overturned. I'm pretty sure Mansour Abdul Malik, there was an illegal strike or something in the there was a headbutt in the finishing moment, so they overturned it to a no contest or something, I guess, or a draw. Julian Marquez, though, that fight was an absolute brawl. Eryk McConico, this dude does not belong in the UFC. He came in on 3 days' notice and fought Nursultan Ruzaboev and got knocked out in the second round, and now he's back on 4 days' notice to fight Cody Brundage. He's at a disadvantage. Cody Brundage has the octagon time under his belt, and he's going to win this fight. He's going to knock out Eryk McConico in the first round. He's only a minus 150, guys. Get him while he's hot. AO. Moving on to the second fight of the night, Gabriella Fernandez versus Julius Stoliarenko. This is just a phenomenal Apex WMMA fight. Julius Stoliarenko, if you guys don't remember, last time she was in the cage, she was bawling her eyes out in crucifix position. Luana Carolina on top of her, just raining down fucking elbows and punches, and Julia Stoliarenko was bucking and trying to get out of it. She couldn't, and I guess the emotions got the better of her. You know, I've ragged on Julia Stoliarenko enough. I'm not going to do it anymore today. But Gabriella Fernandez is going to win this fight. Don't get it twisted. She's a minus 400, so it's not like I'm telling you anything that you don't already know. She's at a 3-inch reach disadvantage here. Something interesting. Gabriella Fernandez, her takedown accuracy is pretty bad, but her striking on the feet is going to be better than Julia Stoliarenko, so that's not going to matter. But her takedown accuracy is 18%. But maybe she'll be able to raise that up a little bit against Julia Stoliarenko. Her takedown defense isn't phenomenal or anything, and I think she's an absolute pushover. So I'll say Gabriella Fernandez wins this fight by decision. That's going to be the pick. Moving on to Uros Medic versus Gilbert Urbina. 10-3 Uros Medic versus 7-3 Gilbert Urbina, both coming off of losses in their last fight. I keep saying Punalei because of Dax on Sparring Sessions. He said it wrong once, and I've been ragging on him since. Punahele Soriano knocked out Uros Medic in the first round. Pretty brutal knockout. That was an upset, too. Uros Medic was a favorite in that one. Gilbert Urbina he got knocked out last year against Charles Radke. Pretty bad one there, too. Gilbert Urbina's all of his, or I guess only 2 of them, but he's got finished pretty badly in 2 of his UFC fights. He beat Orion Koski, but, you know, Uros Medic, this dude's been around. Matthew Semmelsberger, that was a war. Omar Morales, he beat Tim Means. I think he's going to knock out Gilbert Urbina. He is at a 4-inch reach disadvantage here, so I think Gilbert Urbina is going to be putting it on him early, trying to get him out of there. But I think Uros Medic is going to find a counter shot and get him out of there in the first round. We're looking at a Uros Medic round 1 or round 2 KO, I'm pretty sure. I took the under 1.5 as well on the Best Bets podcast there on Sparring Sessions. Moving on, Joselyn Edwards versus Pricilla Cachoeira. 15-6 Joselyn Edwards, 13-6 Pricilla Cachoeira. Joselyn Edwards has had a career resurgence, I will say. Or maybe she's approaching her prime. She's 29 years old. She's on a 2-fight finish streak. She beat Tamiris Vidal and she beat Chelsea Chandler. She looked pretty good in both of those fights. And I'm starting to get on this hype train of Joselyn Edwards a little bit, you know. Pricilla Cachoeira, she just beat Josie Nunes, but she was at a massive reach advantage in that fight. And I get it, like, I still picked Josie Nunes in that fight, and I was proved wrong. I was sourly mistaken. But I think Joselyn Edwards with a 5-inch reach advantage, and I'd say at this stage in her career, she might be more physical on the ground. Pricilla Cachoeira does have like that old woman strength, like that actual bulldog strength. But, you know, Joselyn Edwards, she's been rounding out her game, and I think she's going to be able to get some cage control time, maybe piece her up on the feet with a reach advantage, and she's going to take home a decision here. That's going to be my pick, Joselyn Edwards by decision. Moving on to the next fight, which is Elijah Smith versus Toshiomi Kazama. 8-1, Elijah Smith coming off of a win over Vince Morales by decision, and he beat Aaron Tao on the Contender Series by decision. Both pretty good wins, but you know, this dude's getting some flack. People don't think he's a finisher. We'll see this Saturday, because this dude, Toshiomi Kazama, I will say he's definitely in there to be finished against Elijah Smith. They put these matchups together because they want a prospect like Elijah Smith to get a brutal highlight reel knockout over a guy like Toshiomi Kazama, who's been knocked out by Garrett Armfield in like a minute and Rinya Nakamura in like 3 minutes, both in the first round, and he's been KO'd outside of the UFC as well. This is a fight that they're making to get Elijah Smith his first knockout in the UFC. We'll see if he can get it done. This is like a make or break. If he doesn't get this one, I think a lot of people are going to get off his hype train. I think a lot of people are going to give him flack if this goes to decision. He should get Kazama out of there in the first round. I think Elijah Smith is going to land a nasty like 3-piece combo on him on the feet, hurt him, have him wobbled, and then he's going to unload with like a right hook or a left, like some I don't know. He's going to knock out Kazama in the first round though. I'm pretty sure. We're going with Elijah Smith by round 1 knockout. That's going to be the pick. Moving on. Julius Walker versus Raffael Cerquiera. Yeah. 6-1 Julius Walker. He just lost to Alonzo Menifield by split decision. Really close fight. You could have gave it to Julius Walker. I'm not too upset about it. Like it was one of those where it literally could have gone either way, and I wouldn't have been upset either way. Both of them kind of looked like they were fighting in their dreams, fighting underwater. That kind of vibes, you know, they're spaghetti noodle arms for half of the fight at least. Like, these dudes gassed out quick. But Julius Walker came in, that was a short notice fight for him. He saved a fight because Alonzo Menifield was supposed to fight, like Kennedy and Chekchukwu or something like that. That probably not, actually. That's probably a crazy call. No, he was supposed to fight Umar Sy. Oh my god. But yeah, Umar Sy pulled out. Julius Walker came in and he lost to Alonzo Menifield, but he showed off some pretty good skills at least before he gassed out. Good boxing, and he nearly finished Alonzo a few times. Raffael Cerquiera, this dude sucks. If you've seen any of his past 2 fights in the UFC, he's 11-2. That record means nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. Because of the 2 fights that I've seen of him in the UFC, this dude coiled up, turtled up against the fence, and just let Ibo Aslan finish him in 50 seconds, and he let Modestas Bukauskas finish him in 2 minutes. It was absolutely sad performances by him. Listen, some of these guys do not belong in the UFC. They get offered a contract on short notice to save a fight, and then somehow they get a second fight in the UFC. That's just how the UFC works. I've been harping on this point, guys, that some of these UFC fighters maybe are not the caliber that some people think the UFC is. That's besides the point, though. Julius Walker is going to win this fight against Raffael Cerquiera. This is a setup fight for Julius Walker, I think, for coming in and fighting Alonzo Menefield, and I think he's gonna knock out Raffael Cerquiera in the first round. That's gonna be my pick. Moving on. Eryk Anders versus Christian Leroy Duncan. 17-8 Eryk Anders versus 11-2 Christian Leroy Duncan. Eryk Anders just beat Chris Weidman in his last fight, but listen, he got knocked down in that fight, guys. He got knocked down in that fight, nearly finished. It's Chris Weidman. Like, let me show you. Chris Weidman was so close to finishing this fight, and at one moment he knocked down. What was it? It was the first round, I guess, and he outlanded Eryk Anders 20-12 total strikes, 13 significant strikes to 11. I think Christian Leroy Duncan can get Eryk Anders out of there. He's been knocked out before. It's not like this is a granite chin or anything. We just saw him got knocked down in his last fight. I mean, he's only been knocked out once ever. When was that? I thought Eryk Anders had been getting knocked out a couple more times than he has it, I guess. Did I scroll right past it? A little tangent. Where the fuck is it? Illegal knee, is that it? Is it the Darren Stewart one? That must be it. Maybe not. I don't know. But Christian Leroy Duncan, this dude, people are sleeping on this dude. His striking's pretty good. He outlanded Andrei Puliev like 75-15, something like that in their fight. Like he was lapping Puliev, and I think CLD, his movements, he's going to be moving around the cage a lot better than Eryk Anders. The only chance Eryk Anders really has is if CLD gasses out, maybe Eryk Anders can have like a coming from behind moment in the second or third round where he kind of steps up and puts the pressure on CLD. But I think CLD is going to get Eryk Anders out of there in the first or second round. It's been a while since CLD got a knockout, I can't lie. It has been a while since he got a knockout. But he did knock out Dennis Tululin and Claudio Ribeiro and Dusko Todorovic. Maybe Puliev is pretty good. He just beat Nick Klein as well. But, Eryk Anders, I just saw him get knocked down in his last fight by Chris Weidman. And I think if CLD is able to connect with something like that, he's not choking that finish. So I'm going to say CLD by round 1 or round 2 TKO. I'll say round 2 just for the actual fun of it. We'll say CLD round 2 knockout. Moving on, Miles Johns versus Gene Matsumoto. Let me clear some of these tabs. Miles Johns, Gene Matsumoto. Miles Johns coming off of a loss to Felipe Lima in his last fight. It was one-sided mostly, but kind of close. But it was like one of those where it's like close, but there's a clear winner. Gene Matsumoto just had to step up in competition on short notice against Rob Font and lost that. I picked that too. That was an underdog pick. People forget, man. But Gene Matsumoto, he's actually pretty good. He was on a 16-fight win streak, never lost before Rob Font. And he really dogged it out with Rob Font. He was cut up by the end of the fight, but he never stopped moving forward. And he's at a reach advantage here, nearly 3 inches of reach over Miles Johns. And listen, Miles Johns has never been the most impressive dude. He's kind of, he's beaten Cody Gibson and Douglas Silva to Andrade, but he loses to Felipe Lima, he loses to John Castaneda, and he loses to Mario Batista. I think Gene Matsumoto's kind of in the same boat as those 3 guys, as the 3 names I just named off. I think Gene Matsumoto's among the same, and I think he's going to end up winning this fight. It's going to be a decision, though. Gene Matsumoto, he's not really a finisher. If we go back on his run, he finished Dan Argueta, but Brad Katona decision, Casey Turner decision. He's getting a couple finishes here, but I don't see it happening on Miles Johns. I don't see him submitting Miles Johns, who he actually has pretty good grappling. And, Felipe Lima couldn't do it. So I'll say Gene Matsumoto takes home a decision victory, gets himself back in the win column. That's going to be the pick. Moving on. Andre Filli versus Christian Rodriguez. People forget, man. Melquizael Costa beat both of these guys. Both of these guys within a month of each other. Incredible Melquizael Costa. I wish I was picking a Melquizael Costa fight right now. Excuse me. 3 inches of reach for Andre Filli is sizable. Listen, guys. This is testing the theory that Christian Rodriguez loses to people that aren't a prospect. This is really testing that theory. I'm still going to pick Christian Rodriguez. I feel like I'd be dumb not to. I might throw some penny on Andre Filli getting an upset, you know? But I think Christian Rodriguez is definitely going to win this fight. Maybe not definitely. It's going to be a close fight. It is going to be a close fight. Andre Filli always has close fights, and Christian Rodriguez's decisions are never dominant. Even Isaac Dolgarian, that was a split decision, I'm pretty sure, against Isaac Dolgarian. Yeah. And that was, like, his most dominant fight, where it's, like, it's kind of back and forth, but then Isaac Dolgarian gasses, and it's like, oh, yeah, he's losing now. I think Andre Filli could make it close. I'm still going to pick Christian Rodriguez by decision. But this is really testing that theory that Christian Rodriguez only beats unbeaten prospects. This is really testing that theory. So we'll see what happens. But I'll say Christian Rodriguez by decision. Moving on to the featured fight. Iasmin Lucindo versus Angela Hill. 17-6 versus Angela Hill's 18-14. But you know how it goes, guys. I don't pick 40-year-old fighters. It doesn't happen. She's fighting a girl 17 years younger than her. And a lot of people might look at that and be like, oh, well, she's got the experience. She's got all this. She's got all that. Angela Hill, even in a close fight, she's losing that by split decision. Iasmin Lucindo just lost a fight. She's got a chip on her shoulder, and it was against a girl like Lemos, who I think that's a step above Angela Hill. And Lucindo's pretty powerful. Like, she's a strong build. She's going to be able to control Angela Hill, I think, in the clinch. But Angela Hill is very good in the grappling, so I wouldn't bank on that. But I think Lucindo, her striking's getting better. I think she's taking this win home, guys. I think she's going to get top control maybe at some point. And she's going to get some ground and pound going. Her ground and pound's pretty good. I can't see her losing 2 in a row. And you guys know how it goes. I cannot pick a 40-year-old fighter. Even if it's Angela Hill, and even if this could be a close fight, she could end up winning a split decision. That might be a good prop to play, Angela Hill by split decision or something like that. But listen, Iasmin Lucindo should very well win this fight. But Dax had me thinking. Dax on the Sparring Sessions podcast, he asked me, he said, how is Lucindo going to win this one? And it really, I think she could win this on the feet. She could end up getting top position on Angela Hill. I'm not really gassing up Angela Hill too much here. She's lost 14 fights in her career. And Iasmin Lucindo, she did beat Marina Rodriguez, was able to get good takedowns and top control on her. And she got nearly double the strikes on Karolina Kowalkiewicz. So I think she's going to take home a win over Angela Hill. I'm very worried, though. I could definitely see an Angela Hill split decision or some shit like that. But, man, Lucindo should win this. She should. So I'll go Lucindo by decision. Moving on to Steve Erceg versus Ode Osbourne. The highly coveted co-main event. These two guys are being compared to Dominic Reyes versus Ryan Spann 2.0. Do I think it's like that? Not at all. I think Steve Erceg is miles above Ode Osbourne. This dude had a close fight with Pantoja that came down to a takedown attempt in the 5th round. People forget, man, Steve Erceg was 1 round away from beating Pantoja. It was not domination. He hung it in there with the best of the best. And I get it. He lost to Kai Kara France pretty brutally in the 1st round. And he lost to Brandon Moreno. But guys, he outstruck Brandon Moreno by 30 strikes. And that was a pretty close fight as well. Even though Moreno won it by unanimous decision, it was a very close fight as well. And I could have seen that being a split. I could have seen Erceg sneaking at the decision. He outstruck Brandon Moreno by 30 strikes. That doesn't happen randomly, you know. He has good game plans usually. Ode Osbourne is a step down. If he lost Ode Osbourne, I'm going to be in shambles. But I think Steve Erceg is miles above Ode Osbourne in the skill level. He's at a reach disadvantage, but I think he's going to be able to figure it out. If he doesn't just rely on his boxing, I think he wins this fight. Even if he does rely on his boxing, he could still win, but he's putting himself at a disadvantage not using his grappling. He needs to go back to his roots. His grappling's really good. He kind of fell in love with his boxing, I feel, and maybe that's why he lost his last couple fights. He was boxing a little too much. But, I mean, to be fair, he lost the championship fight because of his grappling, so then he tries to box more and he gets knocked out. So that was a tough 2 losses to take back-to-back. But coming off of that Brandon Moreno fight where he lasts all 5 rounds, takes the good shots of Moreno, doesn't get rocked, doesn't get knocked down, and he's able to outland Brandon Moreno, I'm coming out of that with some confidence. If I'm Steve Erceg, that's giving me some confidence. Even if I lose, I hung it in there. I showed that I still have the skills to compete at the top level, and I think Ode Osbourne is not that good. So I'm saying Steve Erceg's taking this win by decision. Or how is Steve going to finish Ode Osbourne? He's going to submit him. Steve Erceg by submission is going to be the pick in the second round. That's going to be the pick. Moving on to the main event of the evening, Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. 15-3 Roman Dolidze versus 14-2 Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Roman Dolidze did really good against Marvin Vettori in his last fight, but Vettori also looked terrible. Like, if you compare that Vettori to the first fight they had, Vettori in the first fight completely finishes the Vettori in the second fight in, like, the first round. Vettori was getting rocked by Dolidze on the feet. Dude has an iron chin. What the fuck's happening? How is Dolidze rocking you? I don't understand that. But Hernandez is on, like a 6-fight winning streak right now. 7 even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Dolidze, I get it. Like, he's the wonkiest fighter, man. I've probably been harping on Dolidze a bit too much. He went to decision with Imavov. He made it all 3 rounds with, or all 5 rounds with Vettori the first time they fought. I could see Anthony getting a finish here for sure. But maybe Dolidze is a bit tougher than I've given him credit for. I'm going to give him that credit in this fight. Hernandez is good. He's got good finishing instincts. He did finish Michel Pereira, who's got no gas tank. He finished Roman Kopylov, who just got absolutely dog-washed by Paulo Costa. So maybe he's not as good as we thought. Edmund Shabazian, Marc-Andre Barrio. But I think this fight's going to be a longer fight. I think Hernandez is going to win. I could see Dolidze's push kick, man. People forget, man. Dolidze's got a wiry teep. But I think Fluffy Hernandez is going to be able to take it home. His boxing should be better. Even though he was a little slow last fight, he said he had a staph infection and was on antibiotics. So that kind of affects your body's immune system and how much you can exert yourself. I think Fluffy Hernandez 3-2 or 4-1 is going to be the rounds in this. It's going to be 49-46 or 48-47. We're going to see Fluffy Hernandez in top control on Dolidze, maybe getting some close submission attempts. Maybe at one point he gets some good ground and pound going, but Dolidze is tough. He's got good grappling, but I just cannot see him beating Fluffy Hernandez. I'm going to take Fluffy Hernandez by a 49-46 decision over Roman Dolidze. Those are the picks. Let me know what you think. Again, if you haven't seen the Best Bets episode on Sparring Sessions, go check it out. I'll have it linked in the description, as well as the full picks show. I'll have both of those episodes linked in the description, so go check those out. If you want my exclusive plays for this weekend, go check out Bookie's Basement, which I'll also have linked. That's where you can get not only my free picks, but you can also get my exclusive plays, and there's a whole community in there, so make sure to go check that out. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. That's everything. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.